like I always say, we want to focus on ROR, which is your return on relationships. And the way that we can really look at how we impact people's lives and how it's impacting us is to be mindful. So when we say that we're going to bring the teachings of A Course in Miracles in here, we're really saying that we are going from a mindless space to a mindful space. So that's the entire teachings of the course, is to bring mindfulness into our life. And through being mindful and being present in the moment and bringing awareness, we are able to bring peace and joy. Okay, so the course says that all of our worries, all of our problems, all of our fears, they reside in the past or in the future. So that means they reside in time. Time as the way that we have it in this world, not the way that the Holy Spirit has time. The only time that exists for the Holy Spirit is the present. It's an ever eternity. It's a stretched out present. And that's all there is only the present. And when we are in the present, any worry and any fear is actually gone. Okay, so today, the topic I named today's conversation, the emergence of the new you, which means stepping into the present. Okay, so I guess the analogy that I always use is, let's look at a whiteboard or a blank canvas. And any fears and any worries that we have comes from either stories that were told to us or certain experiences that we've had in life. And those experiences are really our responses to things that are happening. They may not exactly be that, but the way that we respond to it and the way that we interpret it creates a certain experience for us. And we take that experience and we actually trap our present moment with it. So let's call the present moment a blank canvas. Okay, it's a blank canvas. There's nothing there except for innocence. So this blank canvas represents innocence, represents curiosity. Let's see it as like a baby, right? Like an innocent baby. There is no judgments, no past experiences, nothing about it. So we see it. If we see a baby, right, we haven't attached any meaning to it yet. But as the baby gets older, as the canvas gets painted on, we start to have experiences around it. I like it. I don't like it. It brings this up for me. It brings that up for me. And so the canvas or this baby begins to have meaning. And the meaning is what we created because it's our experience around it. So if we paint, let's say brown is painted on the canvas, we're like, I don't really like brown, right? Or green or blue. I really like green. I really like pink. So now all of our own judgments and stuff are attached to this canvas. And this canvas is no longer the baby. And so we can actually take this, and my invitation is, as we're having this conversation right now, begin to relate that to something in your life, someone in your life, maybe a situation that occurred. Maybe you responded in a way that you're not very proud of, or or somebody else responded to you that triggered you, right? All of that. As we're going through this analogy, let's try to picture something or someone, right, that we have painted on. And the goal is the emergence of the new you is the emergence to the present moment, which is to remove all those past paintings and past things and judgments we've added onto it. Okay, so it's to see the blank canvas in it all. And we'll talk about why. We'll talk a little bit about why we're afraid actually to have that be why we have been afraid. And then we'll talk about why there is nothing to be afraid of. All right, so it's very interesting, and it's about bringing awareness to us. So let's think about that painting again, right? It's a baby. When we see a baby, innocent, child of God, we have no judgments on it. it's like the blank canvas. As soon as the baby starts to get older, it's, whatever the baby does, right? Doesn't sleep at night. Oh my God. As the baby grows older, you have, the things that this child now does, and we're like, okay, well, that's bad. If that's bad, then the parents must not be teaching the child correctly, and this and that. And now we attach so many meanings to everything. We may even attach it to ourselves about the way that we're going to become parents. And you see this one little baby growing into a child can create all sorts of distortions for us. Good morning, everybody. And the distortions that we create, that shapes our reality. It shapes our reality. It starts to spill into all the different areas. So we're really trying to, if it's a person, turn the person back to its baby form, its innocent form. If it's a situation, bring it back to the blank canvas. All right, let's remove all the colors we put on there, the judgments that we've attached to those colors or to the painting itself. We've added all the stuff to it. We're going to practice the mindfulness of giving this moment and this person a new self or a new you. So the emergence of the new you is really the remembering of the real you. Because we've gone through so much stuff in our life, right? Everything creates disturbances in our mind. We live in a world where everything creates disturbances for us. There is always something to be afraid of. There's always a reason not to trust, right? And so we're going to start to return ourselves to that. And the course, okay, so interestingly enough, we'll just talk a little bit about the course real quick. We'll kind of jump back and forth a little bit. Take a sip of water. So the course uses dual languaging. Okay, so it uses he to teach you about non-duality. So this is what the course is going to teach us. And if we start to practice the teachings of the course, we can use it for all areas of our life. It's the same thing as the painting and the things that are painted on the canvas, right? And then the course uses Christian languaging to teach you about universal religion or universal spirituality. So a lot of people that are non-dualistic, right? The practice of non-dualistic, but the thing is we can't help it. See, even if someone says, I know about non-dualism, and you read the course and it says he, or it says Holy Spirit or Jesus or God, and we're like, ooh, that's dualistic right there. We can't, even the thought of that means you are in dualism. So the course purposely uses that, and it's interesting. This just came to me this morning. As I was reading, I was like, what did I break through? And I realized that all my breakthrough was because I was able to read the course that was in a very masculine, Christian-based languaging to learn about non-dualism. And when we say dualism, if you're not familiar with that word, it means our minds operate from different teachers. On one part of us, we're like, no, everything is one, everything is acceptance, everything is love. And then on the other side, our mind is like, we judge, this is not good, that's not good, right? And we aren't one, we are separated. So that's the challenge here. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna be non-dualistic and then I judge something, right? Because that creates the dualism now. Because there is something there is a black and there's a white. Rather, there is just gray, I guess. All right, and so yeah, this is the topic of this morning, is how we're going to we're going to emerge into this new us, right? And I'll just read for 1 second here, just one paragraph from the course, chapter 15. It's called the holy instant, and we've been talking about this a little bit in the past. um each instant. Okay, so now how do we return, and what does it look like to return back to this pure innocent space? How do we see people as the innocent child of God, as the baby that they are, that was untarnished from judgments, from our own judgments and projections? Okay, how do we return the painting to its blank canvas state, where there is no judgment on it, and there's no past, no future on it? So the Course says that each instant is a clean, untarnished birth in which the Son of God emerges from the past into the present. And the present extends forever. It is so beautiful and so clean and free of guilt that nothing but happiness is here. No darkness is remembered, and immortality and joy are now. So it's like there is no past, because we kind of distorted the past anyway. So let's just say that we didn't understand what we experienced, and we give everything a new moment here of curiosity, of childlike wonder, and then we extend that forever. Because if there is no past, there is no worrying of the future. The worrying of the future only comes from the analysis of the past. Us analyzing and judging the past. So from this moment forward, we will be the innocent child of God, the babies. And the way that we are babies is that we see everyone else as babies. That's how we can check ourselves. Oh, is everybody like babies out there? Right? Like just pure innocent, no judgments on the baby. Right? Can we see all of that? Because as we do that, we will operate and be like babies. I'm not just saying like a baby that's on the ground. I mean, you can visualize that, but just a baby that has no judgments of the world. Right? The baby's like, whoa, that's awesome. Oh my God, look at my hands. That's awesome. Right? Just like being in that space of wonder all the time. And that's a practice of mindfulness. The mindfulness of seeing the innocent child of God in everything. So the Course says that this lesson actually takes no time. For what is time without a past and future? That means anytime you learn anything, it is always in the now. You are learning it now. And that there is only this now. So why are we afraid? And after this thought, actually, you know what? I'll take a pause here. And if anybody wants to share anything on your mind, if anything's going on for you this week that you want to share, I'll take a pause here to give the space and see if there's another direction that this call wants to go towards. All right. So yeah, anybody, anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, Zoom. Yeah, let me know if you have anything that you guys want to share about what's going on this week, any challenges that you're going through, aha moments, anything that we can add some teachings of the Course into. I know the shifting from listening to speaking is hard, but oh, go ahead. Who wanted to say something? Oh, just kidding. Oh, go ahead. Alma, you wanted to say something? Let me unmute you.
I had the same feeling the other day when I meet with another unity group on Zoom, and they were talking about, excuse me, they talking about the politics, like the evil person, and then how Dalai Lama and higher people pray for everyone. And Dalai Lama has a picture of T. I don't even want to say his name, Trump, uh, and prays for him all the time. And in the group, we were saying, why don't we follow that example? Pray for everyone, even if you don't like these people. So just pray for peace, pray for a kind world. So I thought to myself, yeah, it's like just forget about, just be reminded that these people are all innocent. We were all babies. We were held. We were loved, and the mother took care of this baby, and we are the same from the very beginning. But then we grow up, and then we lose it. We become stupid. We just lose it. Some of us, some become really pretty perfect.
Yeah.
But in any case, I believe in that. I come to that space in my mind and I said, forget about it. Just treat these people as innocent people that are hurting and let it go. Let it go. All right.
Yeah, no, thank you for that share. It's very much in alignment with the teachings of the course, which is, we can focus on praying for peace, or we can focus on solutions to a problem. Okay, so here is the thinking, right? Like when we go deep into something, if we have to process something, it makes that something bigger. Like, let's just call it light and darkness. If we're praying for light, light automatically dissipates darkness, right? But if we're praying for the darkness to go away and we want to process the darkness and go through the darkness, all it does is keep showing us how the darkness is more real. And we just keep going in circles around, how do I bring light to darkness? Okay, but really what it's saying is this darkness is so real that I got to keep trying to find solutions for it, and it's only increasing the size of this monster of darkness in your mind. So this is why the focus is on the light. If we focus on the light, if we focus on peace, peace expands, and darkness and fear and all of that dissipates. Right? So when the Dalai Lama is, good morning, Natalie. Welcome. Good to see you here, sister. The focus, right? The bringing of our minds to thinking and praying for peace dissipates the fear. And that's the way to do it. But what we do is we choose to jump into the fear and jump into the darkness and try to fix things there. And the more we try to do that, the more it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, because this is what happens. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and it just increases and gets bigger and bigger. It becomes more real. And then you're actually calling it into your life. You're making it reality for you. And then we think, oh my God, I got to do more of the work, and we just uncover more darkness all the time to have to fix. But there is nothing to fix. Because all we're doing is, imagine this. So we go back to the blank canvas that we're talking about, right? So we want to return our view, our mindfulness and our perception to innocence and to the blank canvas. But instead of removing the colors or the stuff that's painted on the canvas, we try to paint over it to return it to the blank canvas. And what happens when we start to do that? It just gets messier and messier and messier. And as we paint new things over and over and over it, we lose more sight of the blank canvas. So instead, it's about removing the judgments and the things that I have added on there. Right? It's like, let me erase it. And the erasing of those things that we put onto the canvas is is what the Course calls forgiveness. We're going to give as before. It's a clearing of that moment. It's a clearing of the painting that we've added onto, the judgment I've placed onto something. Let me remove that. Right? Not to focus on what they did to me or what I have been doing my whole life or what they've been doing their whole life, but it's to remove my judgment of it so that I may return to this innocent blank canvas state where all there is is happiness and love. And here's the thing. It sounds easy. Sounds like, yeah, why don't we all do that? But we're actually afraid to do that. And the reason why we're afraid is because we think it requires a sacrifice of something that we think is extremely valuable. And so on this call, if we can identify those things for ourselves, what I found extremely valuable that I am defending, right? I am unwilling to remove this stroke or this judgment from this painting because if I remove it, it would mean something else is being removed. Something valuable has to be sacrificed. And this is why we won't let go of our judgment against someone. We won't let go of our blaming of someone. Because if we let that go, it means da 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 da, all of that. And literally meaning da 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 because it doesn't even mean anything. Right? We're like, yeah, if I forgive, that means I'm letting them get away with it. That means they're gonna just do it more, and you know, I'm gonna be encouraging them to be more, you know, I don't know, rude and whatever else we have attached to that. All right, so this is why we're like, no, I can't remove this part of the painting. All right, I don't want it to return to the innocent state. Because if it does, it means all the things I've ever said about it is untrue. Then I'm wrong about something. Ooh, the ego's like, I don't want to be wrong about anything because I know everything. And so the willingness to be wrong about the way that I've had it. Okay, that's a tool for you, for everybody. All right, there's got to be a willingness, the willingness to the Holy Spirit. To your spiritual inside self is your willingness to be wrong about everything that the way you've had it all. The willingness to be wrong about the way that you've had your whole your perception of this entire relationship. The willingness to be wrong about that I am a victim of this. Just the willingness to be wrong about all of that. And so that you may return to the innocent state where it brings you peace and happiness and joy. See, we forget that that's what we want. I want peace of mind. I want the peace of God in this moment. And because we forget that that's what we want, we make being right about something more important. And we think that in order for us to return to that innocent state, to the blank canvas, we have to let go of something that is extremely valuable for us. But what we deem as valuable, being right about those things, is actually an illusion. It's a distortion of a bunch of stories, and they mean nothing. So if I'm sacrificing nothing for everything, we may now begin to realize what's valuable and what's valueless. See, the first thing for us to do to get to that space is to recognize, to kind of decide for ourselves what's valuable. Is peace more valuable than this illusion that I've held on to? Is everything more valuable than nothing? So now we get to ask, is my judgment about my mother, about my brother, about my coworker, about this person everything to me, or is it really nothing? Is my experience and feeling of being a victim everything to me, or is it really nothing? And from there, we can start to let go as we realize it's nothing. Sacrificing nothing is nothing. I can do it. and then we let that go. So maybe that's not a person. Maybe in this moment you're thinking it's something around money, right? Maybe it's something around the relationships you have with the people that you claim that you love, your family members, right? Maybe it's just you. You don't have to use any of this to onto other people right now, but but is it what are we sacrificing? Right? We're sacrificing what we're really sacrificing when we claim, when we blame something and when we're a victim to something is we're sacrificing peace, which is everything, for nothing, for some sort of illusion and interpretation that we have, which is not the truth. Okay, so take a break right here. And Claudia, go ahead. Gotta unmute.
Sorry about that. Oh, I couldn't get my fingers are cold, so I cannot even do the video. But well, I will talk without video. Probably could do the mute. So good morning, everybody. So I have a little technology that I had created to myself because what you're saying is very present to me as I'm like making my walk every day. Okay, I was able to do it. Making my walk mindful, right? So my mindful goes this way: when it's any situation happening in my life, including to myself, including something that I'm like talking to myself about something that I did that it wasn't the most mindful moment. And based obviously on my analysis and based on my own experiences and like you say the past, I come and get hard to myself. And again, I come and do this little words. I'm like, do I want the relationship or do I want to be right? And that's why my ego start like shaking. And I say, well, if you start shaking, it's because you don't want the relationship, and I have to use I want the relationship. And then when I have say this even to people when they're like come to me and like, because you say this, because you say that, because you that, and it starts like a form of like, call it whatever, projection, judgment, whatever. I look at the person and it's a loving person, and I say, well, I don't know what circumstance was for me in that moment, and if I came across to that way, I get to say that I don't want to be right. I just want the relationship. So that has been in very numerous times having created the space for the person to put the sword down many times. And that's been working for me like beautifully, like you say, an invitation to, I don't know, I don't want to be right, and I just want to be in my heart, and I say I want the relationship, so that drops everything. So
Yeah, that's beautiful.
that.
It's beautiful, and it's amazing as long as it returns your mind to peace. I'm going to give you an extra next level to that. Okay? The next level to that is there is no sword. Right? There was never a sword. Because if you see that they actually have to put the sword down, that means you still know that there is a sword being held. So that now the practice comes back to us again. See, the Holy Spirit always gives us the ability and the practice for ourselves to come to peace, right? We can help other people come to peace, but only when we have demonstrated that this non-dualism does not exist. I mean, this dualism does not exist. Only when we are truly able to come to peace are we able to teach peace. See, even the teaching of putting the sword down is not teaching peace. The teaching of putting the sword down is still teaching there's a sword. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
You already know when you hit me there, you know. Yeah, that was yeah, that's another level. Uh, I've I use that analogy all the time ever since masculine journey about the sword and the shield. And there was a moment where I had that same thought, and I can't remember if it was like a little dispute I had with my girlfriend or whatever, but like I remember afterward being like thinking like, oh man, I don't know why the sword is up, the shield is up, and then I disarmed and everything else, and then it was like, wait a second, if I could let go of the idea that the shield and the shield and the sword is there after the fact, or like whatever if you want to call it, like de-armoring or whatever it is, like after the fact, if you can like I noticed for me that if the thought is still there about like the sword being placed down, but like maybe the hand is still on it or something like that, or even the sword being there, I was like, okay, there's another level there, because for me, then that becomes an attachment to, oh, her hand is on the sword, you know what I'm saying? And then I can't, it's not a clean slate from that place. So yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah. So, when it seems like we have to go further, right? It's like, okay, I'm doing the work for myself. Then see what the ego does, and this is what we have to recognize and be mindful, is we weaponize it and we judge somebody else for not doing something now. Right? We're like, I put the sword down. Now we're weaponizing it, and we've actually picked up a new sword. We just don't know that it's a sword. And we're like, you're not putting your weapon down. You're not putting your shield down. And here we go with another freaking sword. Right? And we just do this over and over again. It's the insanity, the twisted mind. This is why we don't focus on other people putting their sword and stuff down. We don't ever focus on other people needing to do something. Right? Life will teach. Let life be their teacher. I will use everything else as a teaching device for me so that I can truly put the sword down. The only recognition is always a mindfulness of how I'm doing something. All of this work is a one-way street work. It's from God to me. It isn't about God to me and then let me do it to somebody else. Right? You can ask yourself let me just be a channel. So if there is a message that's supposed to reach somebody else, let me just be a channel of that. Right? Not to take information, download information, interpret it my way, and then decide how I want to teach it to somebody. That's what we do, even in coaching. Right? Like, this is especially huge for coaching. Coaching gives us the ability to see ourselves. Yes, we can do for others, but then what ends up happening is, oh, I'm giving so much of me to them and this and that, and then it affects me a certain way. It's like, dude, that means you weren't really even giving to this person. You were actually taking from this person.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the teaching and the preaching of peace. And we go back to what Arma was saying, is the prayer of peace all the time. It's what we are now putting into our minds. Because here is the thing that we cannot change. We cannot change the fact that whatever is in our mind, we will project it into the world. That's just the fact of how it's going to happen. Now, so the Course makes a distinction of the projections. You're either projecting or you are extending. From a place of fear, you will project. From a place of love, you extend. But both really mean projections. But it's for you to now discern, what are you doing? Is fear occupying my mind? Right? Am I trying to fix problems? As I try to fix problems, I will project that something needs to be fixed. See, what ends up happening is I'm trying to fix a problem. Now, Natalia's like, I didn't even know something was broken. But you project that something needs to be fixed, and all of a sudden you've infected Natalia with that something is broken. And we're like, oh, well, if you didn't know that, well, now that means there's something you got to fix. And it's like, oh my God, right? Let life do those teachings for everybody, not you. You simply extend loving thoughts to everything. Now, as you extend or as you project, you will experience. So what you will experience. And this is why what you project out there, and we can start simply by listening to ourselves talk. What are the words that keep coming out of your mouth? Is there something wrong with the world? Is there something wrong with your finances? Is there something wrong with someone else's finances? Right? What is wrong with the world? Listen to yourself talk, and that's your barrier. First, removing those barriers. Okay. Am I giving too much and they're not giving to me and this and that? Your conversations. Okay. What is it? Something comes out of your mouth all the time. And what comes out of your mouth generates the reality you create in front of you. The experience you have is in 100% alignment to your thoughts. Now, sometimes we don't know what our thoughts is because we say that I don't want something and we think that we're thinking the opposite. But when we say I don't want something, we're actually saying that that's the thing I want more of. Right? If you were to go to God and be like, I don't want to feel afraid. Well, how is God going to show you how to not be afraid? It will put the things in front of you that you're afraid of so you can look at it until you're like, oh, yeah, this is not really that scary. And it will keep doing it. If you shove it somewhere, it's going to come back again. It'll come back at a higher stake. So let's just say every single one of us has made a request to God from the beginning. God, please show us who we really are. Please show us the love and the peace and the extension of you that we really are. I really want to see it. So then what is going to be placed in front of us? All the things that is not love so that we may see it as a teaching device, just like A Course in Miracles. Because people, and including myself in the beginning, and I did this too, is I'm like, why is everything in he? Like, why? I mean, I'm okay. I'm a man. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I'm like, why is everything written in he form? Right. And then I'm like, wow, the Course has been pointing to my own dualistic judgment this whole time. Because that's a sword to me on some level. It's an attack on the females, right? It's attacked on all the other genders that's out there. And I'm like, oh man, wow. There it is. And the problem is, like, people, we want to feel special. You're already special. You don't need a pronoun or anything to feel special. All right, or to stand out. So then when I started to heal that part of my mind, it healed a lot of other things that I thought was very dual. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's not what I want. So let's just call non-dualisticism, whatever it's called, being non-dualistic, peace. And that's it. Right? So
Perfect. That is perfect. Like I'm always like, oh yeah, oneness or you know whatever. But that's as succinct as it gets because it's the dualistic or the dualism that is at the bottom of separation and anything incongruent with peace. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, same thing like I said earlier, until you realize there is no such thing as dualism, then the sword will really be gone. Because any sword or any shield that we've ever had or anyone's ever had has always been an illusion. So the whole putting it down and all of that, it's a great way to start. But then we have to become more mindful and go more inward to recognize, oh, okay, there was never a sword in the first place. Like, I saw somebody holding a sword, but they weren't really holding a sword. And that's what we got to return our minds to. And we have to be willing. See, this is the part where you have to be willing to be wrong about the way you've had everything. Do you want peace or you want to be right about that shit? And that's what it comes down to for all of us, right? And so the emergence, this conversation today, the topic is the emergence of the new you, which is really the remembering of an innocent version of you. It's like, let me reintroduce myself, because you're reintroducing, implying that you were once the innocent child of God. You were once a baby. You were once this blank canvas that represented only love, innocence, curiosity, and peace. Right. So, who wants to share anything? Or does Marion Williamson want to share something? Hello, Marion. What do you want to share with us today?
Eventually, she's gonna be on these calls, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Brooke's probably like, Alex, you said you were gonna make a post, but you haven't made a post. And I'm like, dude, Alex, you I know. I hear your voice all the time. I know. It's a beautiful reminder. All right. Okay, I know. I'm saying it in a very loving way, and when I think of you, it's in a very loving way. You know, and I'm just gonna let that message come to me, you know, and I get to do it at some point. You know, I get to really write something like really from the heart that I wanna write. You know, so okay,
Alex,
yeah.
I want to share that I'm happy to be around about the sword, and I just added because it was a process, right? I don't see the sword anymore. I only see where when the person is in pain because it might be I've been feeling the pain for that person, right? I don't use that sort of thing. It's just it wasn't a phase in the process of mindfulness that you get to describe the sword, but again, in the process where I am right now is if I see something and I spot on it, I don't even act on it because it's only a thought, right? But if I still seeing that, it's because it's still carrying in my inner world. So the idea is here is like you say, see everything and everybody like little babies.
Yeah, that's it.
And that is the spot where I am right now. Like that soul part. It was a long time ago. It was a teaching that it was shared with me in a process of living in a relationship that always was seen as something was wrong, and I would like look at myself. I'm like, I thought everything was so beautiful and perfect, and we're doing great, and then like you said, then it happened that no, for that person everything was wrong, and I was like, wow, and that's really what it is like. It's because it's an internal work. Um, if I don't see it, I don't carry it.
Mm,
If I see it, I still carry it, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a teaching moment for us. So awesome. Good share. And you know, good. Awesome. Because, you know, I definitely still see the sword all the time. I'm like, shit, I'm carrying a sword. I'm like, why are you carrying a sword? And I forget that I'm supposed to go back inside. But you know, that's what these calls are, right? The emergence of the new you is at every moment happening. It's a present moment happening. It's not a, oh, last week I got to the new me and now I'm the new me. No, like every moment there's a possible emergence of the new you, because we can't actually help it. Yeah, you can. If anybody, I posted the link to the Zoom call. So, well, not to the Zoom call, but the registration. So you guys can actually click on that. It's actually in the bio. In my bio, in my link tree, you can register to actually join us on Zoom. It'd be great. We'd love to have you guys, and that's the registration link. Steve, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, a couple things. So before you chimed in, I was gonna be like, well, I'm not there yet. I still recognize shields and swords, and it's been a useful tool. It's still a useful tool for me to be like, okay, wait a second. All right. And it's a really good, for me at least, it's been a really good analogy for those who are not aware of that analogy when you use it, and like you use it in a way where you're like, okay, I'm just, whatever it is, putting the shield down, putting the sword down, opening up, But like outside of that, I still have it. I still use it like all the time. But the second thing is that I was gonna say is what came to me while you were speaking was, it's gonna sound like oversimplified, but that anytime that you look at anything exterior to you and there's something that's not bringing you peace, and you're looking at it from a place of it needs to be changed or fixed, it's only because it's creating a lack of peace within you. And really the simpler solution would probably be to adjust that thing on the inside that's ticking, not happy over whatever it is externally that you want to change. Like, maybe.
You didn't oversimplify anything, brother. But yeah, that's essentially that. So, it's for us to remember, right? Like what we're saying right now, it's not a, oh my God, I didn't do it and I'm bad and I'm wrong and it's stupid and whatever, right? It's really, how do I take this body of work and this reminder and carry it into moments of my life, right? How do I move on moment and moment in my life so that I can emerge as the new, or the reawakening of the me that has always been there, right? And it's a moment to moment thing. What's up, Jake? Welcome, brother.
Hey, I was like, I'm on like LinkedIn and I'm messaging like these little comments. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm open to feedback. I got something we should talk about. And then you just hit on almost everything that I was curious about. Speaking to other people's curiosities, and I just wrote this like long letter as a comment. I was like, oh yeah, but I know you can't read that all while talking and listening and all that. So I just appreciate everything that you're up to. I've been taking mad notes, and it was some divine synchronicity and timing this morning. Thank you.
No doubt, brother. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in and really contributing too, and willing to come on and contribute. It takes courage, and so appreciate you being here, brother. Hey, Jay, welcome. So there's this book that we kind of go through a lot this year. It's called A Year of Miracles by Marianne Williamson. And, usually when we have a bunch of deep conversations here, or enlightening conversations, we try to see what Marianne wants to tell us. So I kind of just open and flip to anything, and it is always so perfect. Just like you said, Jake, the synchronicity that is happening, the divine timing, it's always here. All right, so I'm just gonna read real quick on what she, I think it's perfect. I don't know what it says, but day 260, this is for reflection on burning through pain. Chaos often fosters the greatest creativity. Breakdowns often precede the greatest breakthroughs. And when the pain is greatest is often when we're on the brink of the greatest realization. The ego would prefer that we do not look directly into the darkness. It would not have us navigate our pain, for it is when we can learn from it. For that is when we can learn from it. The ego knows that crisis often leads to the pivotal moment when we fall to our knees and ask God for help. The ego is endangered by crisis, preferring that a mild river of misery simply run through the background of our lives. Never bad enough to make us question where it comes from or what it means. Yet that painful moment, endured and transformed, is our chance to rout Satan and remove him forever. When the pain is burned through rather than numbered, when our darkness is brought to light and then forgiven, then and only then can we move on. And move on we do. The ego knows this and stakes its life on the fact that we don't. She is just such a wordsmith. It's insane. Okay, so, this is about using pain and using fear as a teacher, using the things that we go through, right, as a teaching moment, and recognizing that finding hope in the darkest of times for us. Some of us may be going through big challenges. And if you're going through big challenges, it's those moments, if there's hope, Hope is knowing that on the other side, that the biggest breakthrough comes from the biggest breakdowns. And we all go through breakdowns, but it's to recognize the teaching moment that is available. Right? And it's pretty aligned with our conversation today, which is to use all of these things as teaching moments, to see everything as teaching moments. And so she wrote that beautifully. That the ego does not want us to go there, right? The Course says, we're going to go through pain. Like this world that we've designed for ourselves, we've made all sorts of stuff valuable: money, cars, houses, status, power, relationships. We've made special relationships to everything, that the loss of those things is inevitable. And every time that happens, it's really showing us what we've made valuable that is not actually valuable, what we've placed on the altar that does not belong on the altar. And as we awaken to that, when all of these abundance is going to flow through, right? Abundance is happening all the time. They're printing more money. It's basically the exact reflection of the infinity of energy. That money will always be printed, and it belongs to you. But can you open your channel enough to let it flow to you? Our blockages, like think about like a toilet or something that's being clogged. There are stuff plugging in the pipes. Our inability, and all of those are our judgments, our stories, our perceptions of different things, of ourselves and others, and about how money is made, and all of that, right? Our entire world, our perception and interpretation of the world blocks us from having the flow of divine energy flow to us, which always gives us clarity and answers to everything that we ask for. Okay, sometimes it looks like getting fired from a job, right? God has to smack you a little bit to wake you up, to step into your greatest calling. We all have an assignment. The assignment is to tend to your garden with the most love that you can, and extend it, and to show other people, to spark it in others that, hey, we all have a beautiful assignment. This assignment will give us complete fulfillment, peace, abundance. Anything we ever need is in the tending of this garden. And then, so what is that for us? The only way we can know what it is to be able to open the channel. See, we don't look for answers. What we're looking for is to clear the channel of communication so that we can download the information. We can remember. The information comes and it helps us remember. When you are so clear, the messages that you speak, like Eckhart Tolle was like, A Course in Miracles is one of the greatest channeled work that he's seen, because it's long. Do you know how clear of a channel you have to be, and for how long of a period of time, so that you can write something like this, you can scribe something like this? This is insane. Marianne Williamson, same thing. What practice does she have to do? Not in asking for the answers, but for the clear channel that she can talk about and bring forth words like this. We all have that level of creativity, clarity available to us. And when we step into that clarity for ourselves, peace and fulfillment automatically follows. Okay, it is a formula that isn't some sort of secret in the world, but we have to be willing to see. Willing. The Course says that all the Course asks of you is a little bit of willingness. That willingness is going to come from when you are truly tired of the way that you've been operating a certain way. And that's why Marianne Williamson just said the ego does not want you to get there. The ego wants this like just a good level of misery that you can actually not question anything, that you're not willing to give that up. But when the pain and when all the stuff is too intense, you will come to a point and say, God, show me the way. God, there must be another way. And this is why our motto and our mantra and our prayer is, God, show me a different way of looking at this. And I'm willing to see. I'm willing to see it differently. See, that's the affirmation. First, I'm willing to be wrong. Right? Show me a different way to look at it. The second is, I'm telling you, I'm willing. I'm affirming to myself and to you right now that I am willing to see it differently. Whether it be a relationship or it be something with money, or just stepping into your calling. Ask for it, right? Anytime you lose your peace around anything, ask for. Thank you, Regina. Good to have you here. Ask for it. Ask for it to be seen a different way. And maybe it's going to take over and over and over, the constant going of it, because we filled our mind with so much worries that it's going to take a long time to shift it. We have to consciously, mindfully put the things we want into our mind, because unconsciously, the ego allows your mind to wander off into the darkness. And you don't even know the darkness is coming. You've been practicing it for so long, it's like brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. Right? But if we really focus, and bring mindfulness to what it is that I want to bring into my mind. What am I participating in? What Zoom calls do I go on to? Who do I surround myself with? Right? Where do I go? Where do I spend my money? The mindfulness goes into all areas of your life. And it's not asking you to be mindful about doing something specifically. It's literally asking you just to be mindful. Bring the mindfulness. Because in the mindfulness, you will learn. All right. So, yeah. Whew. That was great. What's next? Who wants to share? And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for the people that are in my life to continue to show me the lessons that I get to learn. And all of you know who you are that have walked this journey with me, have shared these incredible divine moments. And yeah, and help me remember. So, yeah. Anything you like to share, Natalia?
Yes. As you said, you went on saying, I'm willing to do this differently. What came up for me was that for far too long, and I don't know when it started, but it's like when something happens, chaos, it's like I've noticed that my automatic a lot of the times is like when something bad happens is to think worst case scenario. And so something that I am willing to see differently is that. And it's about my sister and her diagnosis and what the path and the journey that she's going through right now. And so I've been doing this way too long, and that is an opportunity for me to see this differently and stop thinking worst case scenario. So I am grateful for that. So thank you for, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and these calls, I am literally declaring it also right now too, so that you guys can all see it, is that these calls create a certain frequency, a certain flow that touches everybody's lives. Everybody that hears, I don't care if you listen to 2 seconds of this call this morning or any of these ACIM inspired calls, the flow of God, the light of God touched you today and will continue because you saw it. You guys are a part of it. You know, we've taken moments, no matter how brief it was, to stop and listen and connect. Right? We've stopped, listened, and connected to each other and then to another version of ourselves. We want to, we crave it. All of us crave deeply that version of us which operates from passion, from truth. Right? That fire is now lit. So imagine that. The fire is lit for all of you. From this moment forth, remember that it is lit and that you are no longer walking this world alone. And that your new duty, your responsibility is to light it. Light the fire for those that you come in contact with today. Remind them what the fire looks like. And we don't need to actually do anything to light it. The need to do it does not have to happen, but we do it by demonstrating. That's the true way to teach, is just demonstrating in our lives. Right? We have the opportunity to demonstrate every day. Every time that you come in contact with somebody, you can demonstrate. Because what you're demonstrating is you're demonstrating peace. People will project the stuff that they project. You're either going to get enrolled into it or you're going to enroll them into peace, into hope, into deepening their faith. Because everybody's got some problem that they're dealing with. And everyone's going to speak it. Okay, they'll speak it through different forms. It might look like money. It might look like a complaint about something. But there is something that we are trying to get rid of. And what we're all getting rid of is our inability to see the light in every situation. And so every one of you has had the light lit by being here. Okay? I declare it. I declare your lights lit. Your fire's lit. And now we can do everything with a deeper sense of purpose today. If you're gonna get into music, your music is going to light the fire in those that hear it. If you're going to talk about investment opportunities, you are going to light the fire in those that don't believe in it, that don't believe it's possible for them. Right? So they will see the fire. You can show the fire in everything that you do. You just bring that fire. The fire of love, the fire of peace, the fire of compassion. Good. Yeah. You all receive it. So just remember that today when we're out there, talking to somebody and they, if you speak to your parents, you speak to your coworker, anybody that you speak to, just see them. Really be curious about their story, about their journey, and really see them for who they are. The way to light the fire for somebody is to truly have them be seen. If you see the fire in them, they will see the fire in themselves too. That's how we light the fire for others, is we see it for you. We wake up for you. Great. So, yeah, we got more time. Go ahead, Alma.
It's not like your interpretation. No, don't come to your conclusion, right? See it as it is.
Yeah. You see the beauty in it. When somebody says, I don't think I can do it, you already see them as doing it. If they think they suck at something, you see them as not sucking at something. Right? People will say words. You don't need to play into it. All right. Go ahead, Jake. You're muted. Yes, you're muted.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Otherwise, I'll switch into my headphones.
Good.
Probably better. I'm driving a car. All right. I made a comment on the LinkedIn, and I'm not sure if it pops up across your other platforms, but I'm gonna safely and carefully skim this real quick at this red light that I'm approaching. You said to invite to open up about current issues that we'd be open to speaking about, and I said yes. Currently going through a struggle with being painted as a bad person, or being made to be bad and wrong from a group of friends that sought to create judgments about a situation I was involved in before seeking my personal perspective on that situation. And I needed support in a space of innocence without all the bad and wrong. But now that that wasn't provided, it's difficult to see these people that were supposed to be my close friends, and they intake someone else's perspective of me and let that tarnish the innocence of their view of me. So long story short, I was curious how you perceive returning to that innocence within myself, because without these feelings of shame, we live in peace. And instead of always focusing on what somebody did bad or somebody did wrong, more importantly, what's your perspective on solutions for seeing them in innocence so that I may let it go? Because the judgments that I've picked up in trying to be, I'm trying to put down the sword, but now I am judging them for also not having their sword and shield put down, as you said. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
it makes sense.
The messy canvas of these friendships, I feel like I almost lost the friendships because of the judgments they've made of me. And at the very least, I'd like to be able to extend that forgiveness towards them and put them back in innocence in my life, because it's a drain and a toxin inside of myself when I am resentful that they can't just see my side of the situation and that they're not even willing to see my side of the situation. And I'd like ultimately to be able to share that peace with them so they can bring me back into forgiveness and innocence in their hearts. But bare minimum, I know my intention is to live my life in peace.
Yeah.
And I get to find that forgiveness, whether they want to see other perspectives or not. So yeah, I'm complete.
Yes. So it's a messy situation on the surface, because it's like, I want to be at peace, then I want to bring them to peace, but then I want them to be at peace so they can bring this back to peace, and this goes back and forth, right? But really, let's look at what actually happened, right? So like, I felt like something was attacked about me because there's something about me that they think of me that I am not. Okay. First is to recognize that I think I am something, and I actually am not what I think I am in the first place. Okay. So whatever soft spots that you have that could possibly be pressed, that's the place to look at. Okay. So for example, if I was like, dude, Jake, your freaking red suit that you got on makes you look like a clown. Okay. You're going to be like, all right. Okay. All right. You're not going to be like, dude, I got a blue suit on. This is a blue suit. I do not look like a clown and all. You're not going to get all into it because you're like, yeah, that's like great. You obviously are colorblind or something. You're not going to go into crazy attack or take or be taking it super personally. Right. But now if I was like, you're a bad person, Jake. All right. You're dishonest. You're out of integrity. And now all of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit. Because we've made integrity and honesty and all of that something big and special. We've placed that on the altar. So if you press that button, now that's something. But my suit, I mean, I know I got a nice blue suit on. It looks good on me. That's fine. You say that I got a red suit on. Obviously, you probably just look a little more crazy than I do. So, blessings and much love to you. You can operate like that. But can you do the same thing when somebody says you're not a good person, you're out of integrity, you're dishonest and whatever? I mean, I'm just making all this stuff up, but all of a sudden it's attacking my character which I've made God of my character of who I am. Now, first I got to let go of the image and the design and this character I've made of Jake, of myself. And that's the place to look. Why would that even be a trigger for me? Why would they see this instead of that be a trigger for me? Right? So it's really the same thing, this suit versus this character that I've created. And, from that space, the only way you can bring peace to the conversation and to your relationship is if you come to peace with the fact that they didn't bring a sword. Right? Because me saying you're wearing a red suit, you look like a clown, you might be like, yeah, cool. You don't even see a sword in that. But once I go into you're dishonest and you're out of integrity and you're a bad person, all of a sudden you see a big ass sword. But that's not me. And you got this shield trying to defend yourself. Truth requires no defense. The truth is that no matter what you do, you will always be the beautiful, innocent child of God. Okay. And no matter what they do, they're always going to be that. So when you have returned your mind to that space, that stillness, that silence, that composed, that peaceful space, then you can offer love and a deeper connection with them. Because what is calling right now in that relationship between you and your brothers, you don't see, because you see that something needs to be corrected and rectified and fixed. But that's not what's happening right there. What's actually happening is an opportunity for you guys to go deeper and to recognize truth together. Okay. The truth isn't, let's recognize about being right about this character of Jake. Okay. That's not the truth that you're going after. The truth is, what is this beautiful relationship that we can create here? Right. So from that place of forgiveness, and forgiveness again is not to deal with what happened, but to go, let's give as before. Right? Can you bring your mind? Can you do a clearing to your mind that words were said? Nothing else. Words were said. Right? Because usually what happens is words are said. I've attached meaning to this whole thing. Right? I've made a bunch of stuff up about it. I've created some sort of separation. And I don't see us being in a good relationship. And ultimately, the ego wins. Separation is real. Right? The other way of forgiveness and clearing is words were said. This is what I made more important, right? This is a clearing that we do in the transformational space. This is what I made more important. The new possibility I see is this. And this is what I'm going to do about it. See, you're either going to come from a place of separation or a space of understanding, love, and forgiveness. Right? So I don't know what to do for you. I can't tell you what to do, but bring yourself to a place of not seeing a sword, not requiring a shield, not being have to defend or attack or anything, and then try to have a conversation with them. Right? And then from there, you give permission for them to speak their truth. Because everything else is just misunderstandings, including, I can speak words and I can I can lead other people to misunderstanding through my words because it's not clear. And I'm operating from fear and projection, and I'm unconscious. So I'm saying that. Now, if you receive it as from a place of non-clarity and a place of fear, you've accepted that projection and now you're participating in it. But if you could be such a clear space that it comes and you're like, oh, he's gone, but be like a tree, be like plants, right? Plants and trees, they take in carbon dioxide and they turn it into air. They turn it into oxygen. Right? So be the same thing. Attack or perceived attack comes to you and you turn it into love, into something that's actually usable for human beings. That is, that we can all share. Rather than taking in this carbon dioxide that's poisonous and then giving more of it back. right? So, maybe hopefully you can, work with that. It might take some time. It might take some meditations, practices, reading something from A Course in Miracles, whatever, to bring yourself to a place of peace before you reach back out, because the more you feel like you have to defend something, in the defense, you're attacking them and accusing them of attacking, and then they need to defend. And now you guys aren't getting anywhere. It's a stalemate of armies just staring at each other with swords and shields. All right. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for bringing this beautiful message to this call this morning. Great. What else? Who else? We got about 10 more minutes here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So appreciate it.
of course.
That's amazing. May I add to that really quick?
Sure. Go for it.
Hey, I know you. You're a guy, a great guy, pure of heart. And the more you know that, the less defense can come up of your actions, unless you're speaking from a place of wanting to be right. And that can be pretty tricky too, because that's what the ego wants, is for us to stay in rightness. And if there's something that was the result of, or the origination of a situation where you and perhaps other persons didn't see eye to eye, then from there you feel like maybe a character was made about you by these people or this person that you're speaking of. The only way that can affect you is if some piece of it you're questioning yourself. In my opinion, in my humble opinion. But if you're strong in your truth, it just simply does not align. And you can speak from that place, knowing that, and in speaking from that place, you would not be speaking from defense. You would just be simply speaking your truth.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's basically the same as, you got a blue suit on. Not going to participate in me calling you got a red suit, right? So I'm going to just read for a second here, just an introduction to chapter 6, which is the lessons of love. Okay, and I think this is very, very much I was looking for, and I found it really great. This is the lessons of love. Okay, the relationship of anger to attack is obvious, but the relationship of anger to fear is not always so apparent. Anger always involves projection of separation, which must ultimately be accepted as one's own responsibility rather than being blamed on others. Anger cannot occur unless you believe that you have been attacked, that your attack is now justified in return, that you are in no way responsible for it. See, this is the ego's trick. Given these three wholly irrational premises, the equally irrational conclusion that a brother is worthy of attack rather than love must follow. So you now, like, there's a part that's going to be like, okay, I want to attack them back. It's justified, right? Regardless of what it looks like. It may look like defense in masked as an attack, okay? So what can be expected from this insane premise except an insane conclusion? The way to undo an insane conclusion is to consider the sanity of the premise on which it rests. You cannot be attacked. Attack has no justification, and you are responsible for what you believe. You have been asked to take me as your model for learning. This is now like, the voice of Christ speaking to us. Since an extreme example is a particularly helpful learning device, everyone teaches and teaches all the time. This is a responsibility you inevitably assume the moment you accept any premise at all. and no one can organize his life without some thought system. Once you have developed a thought system of any kind, you live by it and teach it. Your capacity for allegiance to a thought system may be misplaced, but it is still a form of faith and can be redirected. So all of us have faith. That's the thing. It's where did you give it to? Is it towards an insane thought, or is it towards let's bring sanity to it? That maybe you can't even be attacked. That maybe you can't justify attack. And that maybe anger and attack is my responsibility and not someone else's. And from that place, you need do nothing with anybody else. You don't need to go and rectify, justify anything. They don't have to think anything. I now have to sit with the fact that I think me, as an extension of love, as the light of the world, can somehow be darkness. Can somehow teach darkness. Can somehow even be attacked by darkness. Light always and automatically dissipates darkness. Darkness cannot come in and penetrate light unless you turn your back to the light. Then you can see darkness. Then you can see the shadows. But that shadow isn't even real. That darkness isn't even real. So let's just focus on the light. Let's focus on the fire. We are all fire keepers of love. So tend to that fire every moment that you can. And in your situation, Jake, you have an opportunity to tend to the fire within yourself and an opportunity to light the fire in the relationship. And we all have it somewhere in our life that God is saying, tend to this fire. And there's a fire that we all get to tend to. Whew. All right. Well, that was fun. Thank you all for co-creating that. You know, the message seemed very, very clear to me. And hopefully I was able to relay that to you guys really well. And any last thoughts before we conclude this session here and close out with another beautiful words from Marianne Williamson? Okay, then. Thank you, everybody, for being here and being a part of today and witnessing. It was a beautiful morning, and really, really honor and appreciate all of you guys for spending your time with me this morning. All right, so today, Alma, did you want to say something?
No, I just want to say thank you before we all go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So today I believe in miracles. Day 134. Even in the midst of my darkest night, I sense the presence of angel wings. Confronted with the limits of what I can do, I realize the limitlessness of what God can do. When the world is at its worst, the miracle of God's love is still ablaze within my mind. I will not be tempted today to doubt God's power. No matter what occurs today, I know a miracle is possible. Hang on. I cleave to this knowing and to the power that it brings. Dear God, may I not forget your power in my life or in the world. May your miracle be ever present in my mind. May I remember that in you there is always hope. Amen. All right. Amazing, amazing call. Thank you. And welcome, Monica. Thank you for witnessing the last moments and participating in that and being here. you guys can always find the recordings on any of my social medias. It will just be there and you guys can listen to it. And as always, thank you so much for being here. And I hope to see you all on Sunday when we do this again. All right. Much blessings to you all. Tend to your fires. And yeah, much blessings. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh,
Thanks, Alex.
hello.
Great seeing you.
Yes. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Amazing call. I'm so glad I'm back on.